Good morning, LCA Preschool. It's Miss Caitlin reading to you. Today I'm reading The Legend of the Easter Robin. What's the matter with her, Gran? Tressa and her grandmother had watched two robins carry twigs, cat hair, and string to build a nest on Gran's window ledge. Now the bird wiggled, tail twitching, while its red-orange chest rose and fell. That Mama's just molding her nest for a good fit, Gran answered. But Tressa worried. It was still 2 weeks until Easter. A million things could go wrong when a robin tried to nest this early. The next day, Tressa ran straight to Gran's after school. Gran showed her the surprise. In the center of the nest lay one perfect egg, the color of a spring sky. The father robin sat on a branch nearby, guarding his family. Tressa spotted raccoon tracks below and a blue jay eyeing the nest. Gran, how are we going to keep the eggs safe? We'll have to leave that one to the Creator, Gran said. Over the next 3 days, the robin laid 3 more eggs. Tressa watched her mother robin nudge her eggs before huddling onto them again. Turning her eggs keeps them from freezing, Gran explained. See that bare spot on her red chest? God made her so that she could warm her babies through that brood patch. Tressa hoped that would be enough. The day before Easter, a cold snap hit. Frost laced the window pane and whitened the nest. Now the eggs will never hatch, Gran, Tressa cried. We'll have to trust the one who watches the sparrow and the robins, Gran said. Now come with me. It's about time we see to some other eggs. Gran got some eggs from her refrigerator. She poked tiny holes in the top of each egg. Then she blew the gooey insides into a bowl, leaving the shells in one piece. I'll show you how to make Oostervogel Easter birds. It's an old Pennsylvania Dutch tradition. I learned it from my granny. Tressa blew half-heartedly on her egg. All she could think about were the real eggs outside in the cold. Gran dipped her egg in blue-tinted water. When she lifted the shell from the dye, it was a robin's egg blue. Tressa knew Gran and God cared as much about those baby robins as she did, and Gran wasn't worried. Tressa tried blowing out her egg again. This time it worked. Gran grinned over at her. Since we have robins on our minds, how would you like to hear the legend behind the robin's red chest? Tressa dipped her egg into the dye while Gran began her story. Around 2,000 years ago, a plain brown robin was flying over Jerusalem when he heard angry shouts from the streets below. Swooping down to see what the fuss was about, he caught sight of a man, beaten and bent under the weight of the wooden cross. I know this man, thought the robin. All earth's creatures except humans recognize Jesus, the Creator God come to earth. At first, the robin thought that he saw a nest on Jesus' head, but when he soared closer, he understood. The nest was the most cruel crown of thorns. I must help the master, thought the robin, but what could he do? Jesus stumbled as the whip snapped. He fell, and the thorny crown dug into his head. The robin was filled with compassion and flew at the crown and tried to knock it off Jesus' head, but the crown wouldn't budge. It was then that the robin noticed one long thorn sticking into Jesus' forehead. The bird gathered all its strength and grabbed the thorn in its beak and tugged. The thorn gave away, and as it came out, a drop of Jesus' blood fell onto the robin's chest, staining it red from that day to this. Ever since, Gran said, the robin's chest reminds us of how Christ sacrificed and how much he cares. The robin's song is the first sign of spring, helping us remember that after Christ died, he rose again on that first Easter. Tressa insisted they colored the rest of the eggs robin's egg blue, and Gran taught her how to cut out wings, heads, and tails for the Easter birds they'd hang from the trees in the morning. When Tressa woke up on Easter morning, she ran into Gran's to hang their Easter birds. As she tiptoed beneath the robin's nest, something crunched under her shoe. Jagged chips of blue shell lay scattered on the ground. Gran! She cried as she burst in the house. The eggs, they're broken. Gran called Tressa up to look into her room. Take a look. Under the mother's robin's wing sat 4 scrawny baby robins, eyes closed and mouths wide open. "They're alive!" Tressa exclaimed. She watched the daddy robin drop bits of food into the baby's mouths. "God takes care of his own creatures," Gran whispered. Through the window pane, Tressa could hear the robins' red chests, bright against the sunrise. She was sorry that she'd ever doubted God's care. From then on, whenever she saw the robin or felt worried, she'd think of the legend, and she'd remember all Jesus went through on that first Easter season. "Thank you," she prayed, "for the robins and for Jesus." Outside the wind howled, but the robins' joyfully chirping came through loud and true. To Tressa, it sounded like they were wishing her happy Easter. She answered them, "Happy Easter to you too." The end.